Hey guys, what's up? It's Thomas. Today we're back here with Josh Scorcher again. Tonight, well, we're checking out the best moms in video games. So yeah, not sure about those moms that, I'm not sure if I should say anything else. Basically, the love and supporting moms that we all know and love. I know, it's kind of ironic considering it's almost, Mother's Day coming up soon. Hope you guys got your mom a credit. Hope you got your moms their card, Well, anyway, let's see the best of the best. Be sure to like, subscribe for more. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you actually want any of these guys to be your moms. Let's go!
This video is brought to you by Redneck Engineer, custom-built gaming PCs and parts for an affordable price. Use code JoshScorcher at checkout for a 5% discount. And make sure you don't have any coupon clipping extensions like Honey installed or I don't get my commission. Thank you!
Fair enough.
Well, a mother,
Hi, Wendy.
real mother, is the most wonderful person in the world.
Mothers play a vital role as the moral and emotional center of their child. Whether they're the ones bringing the child into the world or adopting and offering the care the child deserves, we hold every aspect of them in high regard for it. While various movies and shows have given ample focus on a mother's character, video games are very seldom on the same level. Most mothers in gaming are either cheerleaders, dead, or secondary traits to a major character. Some great characters have come out of these tropes regardless, but games dedicated to showing the complexity of motherhood isn't exactly a common sight. I think we can blame JRPGs for this commodity, partially at least. If we're gonna look at the best mothers, we gotta key in some big factors. How much does the mother nurture their child? What are the struggles that come with their motherhood? What do they have to learn and what sacrifices must they make? If we actually follow them along their journey, they place higher. If possible, how good do their kids turn out? And how much can we attribute that to how the mother raised them? And finally, they have to be interesting characters that add layers to the story. It's fine to just be nice and kind sometimes, but there's gotta be some weight to it.
Actually, I'm kind of curious to see who's going to be a part of this list. Here we go. First up, Part 10.
Now, folks who haven't dived into the
Samus.
Metroid series are probably asking, what the heck is
Mother
a
Metroid?
Well, mostly, it's this thing.
Oh, Mother Brain.
She's a beauty, ain't she? But it's also extremely dangerous if left unchecked or placed in the wrong hands. So come Metroid 2, Samus, our silent protagonist, is tasked with exterminating the last of the hostile species. After a grueling battle with the Queen, our bounty hunter has successfully wiped out the last of its kind, and the universe is saved.
For now.
Or so
they
we think.
The baby.
Let's go.
Yes, you've heard the memes, now meet the more responsible. The baby. A tiny infant Metroid and the actual very last of its kind. It imprints on Samus, and rather than just killing it, Samus decides, "This mine now," and adopts the little hatchling. We only see these two interacting a handful of times, like this cute post-game scene, and when they work together to fight Ridley. It's not a lot, but it shows how protective Samus is of her new charge and vice versa. This familial bond comes to a head in Super Metroid. She tries giving the baby to some trusted scientists, only for Ridley to come a cradle robin.
Of course.
He swipes the squishy infant and brings it to Mother Brain, where it's transformed into an enormous, monstrous blob. A Super Metroid, if you will.
Like how I work the title in like that?
No!
It goes on a rampage and only barely recognizes its adoptive mama before pulling away from killing her. Unfortunately, this isn't a happy reunion, as the hatchling sacrifices itself to save Samus. This one deeply affected Samus, as she makes it known frequently in other M, like ad nauseum.
And the baby, for the baby, of the baby, for the baby.
Gotta see the baby.
Shut up.
You've got to come over and see the baby.
Of course, folks who follow me know by now there are
Yeah,
bigger issues
other
with
M,
other
not
M than
that
the
best
baby
game.
drinking game. But still, Samus spent years fighting and exterminating Metroids, so why spare this one? Is it purely because it's young and hasn't had a chance to become a monster or bioweapon? Or is it because she sees a kindred spirit in this little blob? The only one of its kind, all alone in a strange new world, much as she once was. I could go with either of these answers, honestly, because either way, it brought out a whole new side to Samus we never expected. Her dedicated kindness and maternal instinct towards her adoptive child enabled what was left of it to save her on several crucial occasions. While it would have been nice to see more moments of them together, seeing them have each other's backs was more than enough.
Yeah, I mean, you ain't wrong. Still, you gotta admit it. Bounty Hunter Mom, that would sound kind of cool. Not in practice.
The mind of a child is a fascinating thing, as Jimmy and the Pulsating Mass demonstrates. The whole game takes place in our titular boy's dream, and his party is composed of his family. Among them, naturally, is his mother, Helga. Okay, first off, that's super wholesome. He could have imagined any random cartoony party members, and he stuck to his family because he loves them that much. It's a lot more tragic considering, well, I'll just say that when you play the game, have a box of tissues on standby.
Yeah.
Anyways, Helga, a loving and supportive mother to both Jimmy and his brother Buck. You want proof? The whole flippin' adventure started because she wanted to bake her son a cake. Every conversation they have shows her offering comfort and support, but she also knows when to put her foot down when necessary. She has big mood swings into deep catatonic states sometimes. She's still human after all, but she never takes it out on Jimmy. Even after she finds out that Jimmy stole a teddy bear from a store literally behind her back, she forgives him. At one point, you have to fight her in the arena, and she doesn't give a fig. She still cheers you on and even encourages you to beat her. Actually, she does more than that. She actively heals you during the fight. Helga's that one mom who squares up with you in the ring, compliments you while she knocks your block off, and then bakes brownies for literally everyone after the match. Heck, at one point, her other son Buck gets mind-controlled by the Pulsating Mass, and he still has a soft spot for her because she's just that sweet and loving. Meanwhile, dear old dad looks at his terminal son and literally says, maybe we can have another kid? And that's why Helga gets the Parent of the Year mug. Naturally, her motherly love shines through even more as a member of your party, literally tying into the gameplay. Her optimistic personality makes her immune to most common status effects, while she heals her allies by giving them pep talks, comforting smiles, and high fives. Even if she's a figment of Jimmy's imagination, Helga obviously left a positive impact on her son in the real world. She's forgiving and supportive to a T, even when she's reluctant to let her ailing child go. Couple this with Jimmy seeing her as a healer, and it's a clear testament to how great the real Helga is. Dang it, stop trying to make me smile before you rip out my heart in the end game.
Amen. Yeah, that just sounds like it. Right?
Motherhood is a lifestyle that requires a great deal of sacrifice. You're sacrificing your time, your body, your energy, and potentially your freedom if you're left on your own. But a good mother is one who makes those sacrifices, all for the nourishment and future of her children. It's what makes women like the boss from Metal Gear Solid a good mother. First off, the boss isn't just a mom. She's a military mom. That does my little Marine boy heart good. As a founder of the Cobra unit, the boss was looked up to as the mother to her men, similar how male military commanders are seen as a father to their men. Heck, the boss became a legendary American soldier and was deemed as the mother of America's special forces. On top of that, she's literally a mom. Ocelot's her child.
Ocelot's mother.
That's how families work. But all joking aside, the boss serves as a mentor and mother figure to Snake during their time in the Cold War. Even during the time they were separated, the boss often addressed her other apprentice Strangelove as if she was addressing Snake. She may not be terribly warm, but she's about as loving and protective as a mother can get. Heck, when she was shot into a coma in 1943, the boss willed herself to live for her unborn child at the time. She loved and cared for Snake so much that she defended him against her own biological son and Snake's ex-girlfriend, Eva. But the boss doesn't just try to protect Snake physically. She tries to protect him mentally as best she can by asking Eva to tell Snake the truth about eventually having to kill her. It's devastating news, but the boss wants nothing more than for her apprentice, her military son, to forgive himself. What really cements her placement on this list, however, is said sacrifice she makes at the end of Metal Gear Solid 3. Despite all the good that the boss has done for the US, she's been branded as a traitor. It's up to you to mercy kill her because if the boss doesn't die, America will take the blame for the nuclear mishap. Yeah, you probably know some mothers who would die for her kids, but what about a mother willing to die for her country? And throughout her final moments, the boss tells Snake how proud she is of his growth. The boss is a mother figure who truly understands what it means to make the ultimate sacrifice of motherhood. If she was a basic mother and didn't have to be a military leader, she'd honestly be Mom of the Year. However, while she certainly has the determination and willingness to be a good mother, she does admittedly lack the warmth that most would expect from a traditional mother figure. Not a huge
Again,
merit, not
military
by
game.
any means, but you can argue that the boss is a better mentor than she is a mother. If it's warmth you're after, you might have better luck with...
Yeah, their mothers. I mean, fair enough. She had to put on a cold front, you know, considering, like, she had to play the betrayal part, you know? Think about it. Like, even she said, she could have cleared her name, but USA would have been blamed for a nuclear mishap, you know? And there goes the Cold War. Went from Cold War to an actual world war. And with nuclear weapons, bye-bye world. Eesh. Just saying, you know how things go from there. Eesh. Someone's got to take the fall, and the boss decided to take the fall. Oh, you had Samus, Helga, and the boss. This thing's start to say the least. Alright, number 7, let's see what's next. Hey, Goat Mom.
What a terrible creature, torturing such a poor, innocent youth. Ah, do not be afraid, my child. I am Toriel, caretaker of the ruins.
Yep, ain't no way we're talking about video game mothers without mentioning Undertale's butterscotch cinnamon pie baking goat mama, Toriel. From the moment this woman appears on screen, she takes you in, gives you a warm place to stay, good food, and she even gives you a cell phone right out of the gate. This way you can give her a call to say hi, call her mom, or flirt with her?
Please don't.
Either way, you'll still be calling her mommy.
Stop. Please.
I'm numb after the last countdown.
True.
Anyway, let's move on to the wholesome interactions with Toriel, shall we? When you first encounter her, she guides you through the underground and teaches you how to solve puzzles. Sort of. She actually kind of coddles you through them. Like, she labels the correct switch for you, and there's a section where she holds your hand and guides you through a spiky bridge. It's actually pretty cute. Also, I like how Toriel is a little socially awkward. Like, she hasn't had anyone to talk to in the underground for so long that she gets nervous when she takes you into her home. Like, she wonders if you like butterscotch and cinnamon, worries about the state of her home, and for a woman who's supposed to be a large motherly figure, she's surprisingly shy, which contributes to her overall gentle nature. She's also very into history, hence why you see her reading so much as she takes you in. She just wants someone to share her interests with, to share her life with. But unfortunately, she is a bit smothering as she won't allow you to leave, leading to her boss fight where you have to spare her until she gives you a hug and allows you to leave, with the heartbreaking caveat that you can't return. And that's the only option you should be taking. Of course, all of this is just in the opening of Undertale. If you do a pacifist run, you will eventually reunite with her, and she expresses how worried she was about you. Something else worth mentioning is that Toriel doesn't just adopt you as her child. She's also the biological mother of Asriel. You know, the shy goat boy who turns into a... Fat. And guess what? Toriel makes her grand return in Deltarune as the adoptive mother for Chris, even though she's a bit more firm and disciplined with them than she is with you in Undertale. But let the record show that Toriel isn't just smothering and submissive. She isn't afraid to call Asgore out for his misdeeds, and also, this moment. Ugh, that's a mom stare that'll remove your spine from your body. Not much else to say other than Toriel fits the motherhood role to a T. She's nurturing, but also firm. She's socially awkward, which makes her extra adorable. She worries endlessly about your health, and she's a great cook to boot. And the fact that she came back in Deltarune shows just how much the fandom has adopted her as their collective goat mommy. Unless they started with a genocide run for some reason. But hey, people who play Undertale can play however they want. What am I saying? No, you can't.
Yeah, know the fandom, they would hate you to kill the goat mom. You know, funnily enough, if you remember back in chapter 2 of Deltarune, like, you end, like, opening up a dark portal, like, right in the middle of the house. I'm actually curious if we actually get to play with Toriel, like, in the next part. So, I'm actually really curious to see how Toby Fox is going to have, like, Toriel as a playable character. What do you guys think? I'm actually really curious to see what's going to happen. And, well, considering it's releasing with the Switch 2, I actually got some time to figure that out. But how do you guys think it's going to play out? Let me know. Anyway.
So, you know how in anime we usually avoid the topics of parents since there's usually more baggage involved than an airport during the holidays? Well, JRPGs are kind of the same. They follow a lot of anime tropes, right? Hey, what was the series again? Final Fantasy? Dang, that doesn't help me. Well, let's just scrap this whole thing then. I don't know what I was doing either. With 6's insane amount of characters, it's not surprising that a lot of them have parental issues they need to work through. Don't get me started on Shadow and Realm's hidden lore. Terra is the one you may not think about when it comes to that, as she never really knew her parents, but the relationship between them was a trigger for many events in the story. By the time The World of Ruin comes out, Terra knows about her parentage and her identity, but she still has to come to terms about it with clear confidence. When we find her, she's in a destroyed village taking care of the orphans left behind. While we ask for her help, she declines, electing to stay behind to take care of the children, but also to figure out these strange feelings and draw she has towards them as well. When we find her a second time, we help her fight off a monster attacking the village. It gets so bad that Terra has to transform into her Esper form to kill it, though she was hesitant to use it with how the kids may see her. Well, they were scared at first, but once they recognized it was her, they embraced her. It was at this point Terra realized what those feelings were. It was love and warmth. She saw herself in these kids, people whose parents were taken by tragedy and had no idea how to go on in the world. Once she realized her love, she joined you to kill Kefka. Well, killing Kefka also has the side effect of getting rid of all the magic in the world, including Terra's Esper half. Well, these feelings allowed Terra to survive as a human, with even her father saying farewell, finally understanding the feeling of parental love and wanting to continue passing it on to the orphans. Terra is a unique case, as she is someone who never really understood love or felt it from anyone. She was enslaved right away and had to regain her humanity while coming to terms with her identity. Despite that, she still endeavored to care and risk her life for kids due to a feeling she couldn't understand. It shows that even those who may not know what love is can still show it to others in times of crisis.
That's that for Terra. Another reason to try out 6 when I get the chance. At least when I get started on the Final Fantasy
One big part of being a mother, of course, is about raising your child. Shocker, I know. But a mother's nurturing love is something extraordinarily powerful. A good mother doesn't just care for their kids, she makes sure the memories of that care live on through their child. So even when she's gone, that love is still there with them. A heavy idea for sure, but wouldn't you know it? Between all its religious symbolism and out-of-nowhere twist endings, Drawn to Life the next chapter has a prime example of this. Welcome to Watersong, a beautiful Venice-inspired beach town centered around music. Its mayor, Rose, has lost her voice, leaving her son Miles a wreck who runs away. You learn that the mayor's voice just isn't any old singing voice, but is passed down from generation to generation, and is said to power Watersong itself. Rose put her voice on the line in a competition against a mysterious stranger named Salem and lost, thus cursing her to never utter a word again. Miles, knowing how detrimental this really is, helps you find the magic conch.
Not that one.
That her voice is sealed in. But once she gets her voice back, Rose feels horrible at what happened, and deciding she's unworthy to be mayor anymore, decides to pass on the mantle and the magical voice to Miles, a process which will kill her.
Oh.
Wait,
what
the?
My song, let my voice fill this room one more time. Use this line by line until I'm out of time.
Yeah, you're hearing this. Rose's final ballad, Light of My Life, is sung in-game and sounds beautiful despite the DS's limitations. In it, Rose tells Miles that despite this being goodbye, she'll make the most of the time she's got, that she'll always love Miles, and as long as he has that love, they'll never be apart. That this is just a new chapter in his life, and that ultimately he'll be okay. It's beautiful. A beautiful moment for anyone who's gone through the pain of losing a mother. Fortunately for Miles, the creator steps in at the last moment, telling Rose that it's not her time to go yet because, huge shocker, Salem was, who else? Wilfrey in disguise the whole time. Oh wow, who could have seen that one coming? And Wilfrey, well, cheated in that little competition, but man, Rose's story, and especially Light of My Life, is something nobody would expect from this game, just like everything else in it.
True. That was a close call. Hey, at least Mel's got the key of his mom. You know?
Alright, here she
there
is.
we go.
Possibly the entry we've all been waiting for, and the ultimate mother figure of the Mario canon. Our Lady of the Stars, Rosalina. For those who are unfamiliar with the celestial icon, where have you been?
Okay.
Rosalina lives in the Comet Observatory ship in space and cohabitates with these adorable, chubby little star children known as Lumas. Together, they travel throughout the universe protecting the cosmos. Rosalina serves as the adoptive mother of each of the Lumas, giving them a loving home in the observatory until they grow up to become celestial bodies like stars or galaxies. Sounds painful. And good heavens, there are a lot of them. Mother to them all? I don't know how you do it, girl. Through an autobiographical story read to us by Rosalina herself, we learned that she went to space one day as a child, lost and alone before running into the Lumas, who shared the same cold loneliness. Rosalina knew all too well the pain of losing one's mother, to be far away from a loving home. That traumatic experience was used for good, as she began to look after the orphan Lumas who had nowhere else to turn to. Although she was just a child, Rosalina took it upon herself to become the Lumas' new caregiver. The Lumas cheered as they accepted their newfound family in this human girl. Also, she reads bedtime stories to the Lumas in her library. Absolutely wholesome. Next Galaxy game, let's get Rosalina to sing a lullaby, yeah? Rosalina's vocals would be awesome. Even outside her interactions with her Lumas, Rosalina has a very diplomatic, calming, and gentle constitution about her. She brings those motherly qualities to anyone she speaks to. Her Comet Observatory is a safe haven for all and serves as a true home not only for the Lumas, but for Rosalina herself. Young Rosalina was in mourning, unable to let go of the family and life she would never see again. It's often said that serving others around you will bring you a strong sense of joy and purpose when you are at the depths of your despair. When life feels void and meaningless, many people rediscover that meaning and purpose by being that to someone else. Rosalina reframed her depression and grief over her home and mother into becoming a caregiver and steward for the Lumas, so they wouldn't have to feel that same pain. She's an enchanting example of healthfully putting your worries aside for the comfort of others. The idea of being a mother is more than a role with Rosalina, it's a transformation and a process. It's a sense of life and purpose. The absolutely stunning piece you're hearing right now is called Family. Title speaks for itself. It contains the same melody played in the observatory waltz. It is Rosalina's theme. Her theme is family, regardless of when or how that happens. Sure, you have to dig deep, but yeah, this is still from a Mario game. It'd be great if they're willing to dip into these kinds of stories again. I'd love to learn more about her father and brother, too. Gonna take some hard convincing on Miyamoto's end, of course, but in the wise words of another space-themed character, the impossible is possible. Some, anyway.
This depends how long you look for it. Hey, number 3. Next.
In the wide, complicated world of classical Greek mythology, family is a tumultuous thing. Half the time having the gods as parents means Zeus did a Zeus and now it's your problem. And mother figures really aren't much better. Hera isn't winning any Mom of the Year awards. But Supergiant's Hades takes a more favorable approach to the family tumbleweed that is this pantheon. Protagonist Zagreus is motivated to climb his way out of the underworld to mend the relationship between his father, the titular Hades, and his mother, the goddess Persephone. While this game does have a strong portrayal of her, Persephone isn't who we're talking about here because Zag had a mother figure already present in his life, the goddess of night, Nyx. During his youth, Zagreus was raised under the impression that Nyx was his birth mother, and Nyx wasn't just his stepmom, she was the mom that stepped up. Over the course of the game, you learn more and more about how far she's willing to go for Zag and her other kids. She's very supportive of Zagreus' mission to reach the surface, even providing the mirror that helps you upgrade Zag's inner strength. When you do reach the surface, things seem odd though, as Persephone was under the assumption that Zagreus had died in childbirth, and the curse of being a chthonic god means he can't stay on the surface long enough to clarify with what she means. Nyx, however, is the one who helps clear things up. Zagreus, in reality, was stillborn, and that completely shattered the relationship between Hades and Persephone. Nyx, however, took matters into her own hands and defied the fates themselves to bring Zagreus to life. And if you know Greek mythology, that's ludicrously difficult. Nyx moved heaven and earth to make sure Zagreus was able to live a happy life, and his ability to contact the gods and fulfill his quest wouldn't be possible without her. No, literally. It's revealed later on that she, along with Hermes and her son Charon, worked together to establish contact between Zag and the Olympians, all to try and mend the entire broken family and bridge the gap between Olympus and the underworld. Nyx is a mother who goes above and beyond, not just for the sake of her children, but for the sake of everyone in the family as well. It's fitting then that through Zag's journey, he ends up helping her establish contact with her parent, Chaos. She helped him find his mother. It's only fair he returns the favor.
Yeah, fair enough. I guess that's endgame stuff, but I don't know. I haven't played A's in a while, so I don't know exactly. But still. Really goes to show you, sometimes Greek mythology is just a parent, like, just shindig, I guess. If you guys don't know the full story, jeez, good luck. Anywho, well, 2 coming up. Yeah, back next, but, hey. Actually curious to see what the last 2 are.
We found one of gaming's best moms in an indie roguelike. Now we're about to find one in an indie Metroidvania. Laika, Age Through Blood, features a coyote named Laika, who stands as the sole warrior of her people fighting a war against the bird army, gunning them down while speeding through the wastelands on her motorbike. Why is she the only warrior? Because she descended from a lineage of shamans blessed, or cursed, with the gift of immortality. If that's a lot to process, let me sum it up in 4 words. Immortal, gunslinging, biker, coyote. Tell me that's not a recipe for one of the most awesome character designs ever. Oh, and did I also mention she's a cool mom? Yep, fierce and bad as she is, Laika's also a caring mother to Puppy, her 9th and only living child. Considering Laika didn't exactly grow up with the best mother in the world, she tries to give her own offspring a happy and fulfilling childhood. Sadly, all of her previous kids died from an illness that comes with the curse of her lineage, and she's scared to get attached to her last one. Regardless, it's her obligation to have Puppy in order to pass her immortality to the next generation. And for what it's worth, Laika always does her best. Not only is she spending time with Puppy and doting her with gifts, she's also tearing through the thicket of war in hopes of paving a safe and bright future for her child. And boy, let me tell you, no matter how much she's worried about getting attached, no matter the risk she has to face with Puppy dying out, she loves that kid dearly. Enough to unleash hell on those who kidnapped her. The enemy, her own folks, deserters, no one is safe when the mama hound bares her fangs. But this also brings attention to a flaw in Laika's parenting. She may have been a supportive mother, but in a world surrounded by merciless cutthroats, she's not setting the best example by being overprotective. It's her obligation to help Puppy succeed, and they unfortunately didn't spend enough time training together. Then again, to be fair, she's in a difficult spot. Laika's stuck in a scary middle ground of being hopeful her kid lives and doubting she'll survive when the last 8 didn't. Nevertheless, she realizes she can't always be there for Puppy and that she will have to let her grow in this environment whether she wants to or not. By the end of the game, Laika finds out that Puppy beat her illness and inherited her immortal curse, leaving Laika with her last life. She spends that life chasing after a bomb dropping right over her settlement, destroying it before it would destroy her home. Finally, the warrior embraces her end, knowing that her daughter will live. Balancing being a strong warrior and a caring mother is no easy task, especially when you're in constant alert for death in every corner of the world. Laika put all her cards on the table, and despite the shortcomings, she definitely made a compelling case. And come on, Laika's a mother protagonist. Motherhood is at the core of the story. Of course she had to be this high, especially when there's strangely so few of these to go around. If there is one thing that would have made Laika better, it's if we actually get to see how her child would turn out in the future as a result of her nurturing. Which, might I say, opens up quite the premium seat on this list.
Some honorable mentions.
Scarlet Road, Fable, a champion who enjoys the quiet and loving family life. Respect. Mom, Pokemon Gen 2 and Remake. Kinda tacky she spends your money without your permission, but hey, she buys you some cool stuff. Vanilla, Sonic the Hedgehog. She lets Cream go a little too often, but the IDW comics, especially the Zombot arc, really ramps her up. Verity Gavel, Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Love her or hate her, can't deny she's very supportive of her surrogate sons. Genova, Final Fantasy VII. She's evil, but hey, can't blame Sephiroth for being so attached to the alien that keeps him alive. 5V, WarioWare.
Oh, hey, 5V.
Gamer, Mom.
Yeah, 100.
Enough said. Need a gaming PC that's powerful, reliable.
And, well, we already seen this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and just right here. I mean, we already know Redneck. Anyway, back to it. Sorry, missed. Number 1. this?
Void Stranger, an indie puzzle game that can best be described as the eldritch love child of Drakengard and Fear and Hunger. It's not a game for the faint of heart. Not because of the content, but because its riddle-based progression system is something not everyone has the fortitude to play through. If that's not your thing and you don't mind hopping along for the story, then buckle up, you're in for a ride. Far into the distant future, mankind has gone extinct. Their legacy is left behind in a facility called Dis, operated by entities called the Void Lords. And the leader of the Void Lords created artificial lives within this facility in order to restore mankind. However, as her fellow Void Lords failed to share her devotion to mortal life, she left them, reincarnating as a human with no memory of her past self. In this new world, she would become known as Grey the Destroyer. Grey is a loyal and studious lady-in-waiting, taken in by a royal family to look after their princess Lily. Though the princess is bratty and difficult, Grey remains ever devoted to her, putting up with her antics and less than pleasant attitude. Lily, despite hardly showing it, does value Grey's companionship, seeing her as the closest to someone she has to a mother figure and a friend. Eventually, though, their world comes apart as they're attacked by Prince Johann, a servant of the Void Lords who seeks to wed Lily by force. To do so, he's willing to give up Grey's life to the Lords as his price. But Lily, out of love, forfeits herself to the Void Lords in order to save Grey. This leads to the Lords taking Lily away, abandoning Johann to his demise, and Grey would soon follow them into their home in pursuit of her princess. As I said before, this home of theirs, the Void, is where Mercy goes to die. You'll be tricked, knocked around, forced back to the beginning after traversing hundreds of floors, and the only way to progress is to figure out the myriad of cryptic solutions to these riddles. The Void is made to break a person's spirit, but Grey, she doesn't break easily. Not when the person who mattered most to her is on the line. And after all that, she made it to the bottom. But much to her dismay, the Void Lords hit her with a major revelation. Lily is pregnant. Worst of all, Grey is only allowed to take one person out of the Void with her. This is what broke Grey, choosing between a life that mattered to her the most and doing what she believed is the right thing to do. It's a tough call, but ultimately, she makes her choice. Grey is freed from the Void and spends the next coming years raising Lily's child, Lilith. Grey wanted Lilith to grow up healthy and strong, teaching her martial arts and even demonology, all to prepare her for the future. But alas, Lilith only took in what suits her. She may be strong, but devoted and courageous? Not so much. Tragically, the two would have a falling out over this conflict, and before they could reconcile, Grey passes away. Lilith would then be called into the Void to finish Grey's mission, and as expected, she's not as prepared to face it. As she learns of how she came to be, all she thought about is if Grey actually loved her or saw her as a burden. The doubt riddling her heart almost made her submit to the Void and become just another prop. Fortunately, Grey's spirit, in the form of Ad, rescued her and offered her a chance to reflect on everything. Lilith gets one more chance to apologize to Grey before finally picking herself back up and saving her birth mother. Now, there's a lot more going on in the story. Lots of background lore, alternate routes, and revelations so messy even Kingdom Hearts would blush. But regardless of which of the good endings you get, they all end one of two ways. Grey successfully rescuing Lily, or passing the torch to Lilith to complete the mission. Grey's story is all about persevering and restoring humanity by inspiring their core values into those she nurtured. We see all of it, from her devotion to stand by her daughters even when they talk down to her, the relentless perseverance to go through the Void in order to rescue them, and the heartbreaking sacrifices she has to make for their well-being. Sure, her parenting isn't perfect. She expects too much from Lilith to follow in her footsteps without being transparent, and Lilith has every right to doubt her for it. But, come on. How are you going to tell someone raised in a modern suburban environment that their real mother is kidnapped by a bunch of demons residing deep within a hellish void? Let's face it, not everyone has the answer to that. The struggle and heartbreak is part of the sacrifice that comes with motherhood. But offering compassion and dedication from one life to the next is what makes it all worthwhile. Despite everything Grey went through, she truly does love Lilith just as much as she loved Lily. And in the end, having the humanity she inspired in them prosper forward is everything. I'm Josh Scorcher, reminding you to be good to your moms, whether she's an awesome video game matron or not.
True. You gotta give him credit. That is right. The fact she had to deal with that all just to save her? Wow. And then the daughter has to do the exact same thing. Whew. Hey, there's nothing no one can be prepared for. Anyway, thanks for watching. Until next time, see ya.